Well, I got some chassis saver, another gallon of it. I have still got some left over from a gallon of silver. This is chassis saver. This is gloss black. And for what I found out is, like, when you reuse these cans, sure, you can put some cellophane paper in here and reseal them. I found what's best is just punch a hole, put a screw in there, and then on each side, one for air, one for pouring out, and then put some Gorilla Tape over the screw. After you put the screw back in there and seal it up. I have one from like 2 or 3 years ago. It never dried out, so that's good, you know. What I'm going to do here is a couple of simple things. Like I already got, like, on the floors, underneath the frame and all that. What I'm going to do here, I noticed this window back in here, you get some rust in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some chassis saver in here instead of like putting a new sealer and all this garbage. Let it really pour in there and harden, solidify, and tape off with some masking tape and just pour it in there. But before we do that, I'm going to clean it off with some awesome cleaner, the hose, spray it out, and then I'm going to use starting fluid, then use the air hose with the starting fluid so it'll be like all dried out really good, and just get it in here. The other thing is, I found I still got a leak up here in my weather stripping, and I says, man, I don't want to pull this crap out. What I did was, before I actually put some like truck bed lining down here after I chemically cleaned it. Now I just sprayed some awesome cleaner in here. I'm going to spray some again, hit it with the hose, and then I'm going to hit it with starting fluid and blow it out with air so it'll be like really dry and super clean. And we're going to pour some of that chassis saver right in here where this leaks. And we're going to have some plastic in here in case it pours through on the inside here and gets all over on the inside. It'll hit the plastic. But I figured whatever the water does, the chassis saver will follow. I think the truck bed lining was a little too thick. It did get it quite a bit, but in the real heavy rain, it didn't hold up. So I got this off, these clips off here with this little tool. It slips under this, and you kind of just go down here and you pull this back. You see how you pull that back? You just pull it back and unclips them. These are from Anytime Tools. This whole shebang here was like under 30 bucks. That's why I don't get Snap-on. Maybe if I was a pro I would, but this is for taking off those little clips on the old door handles. Get those little horseshoe clips. Some of this other stuff, I don't know, these are just like some body plugs and stuff. I tell you what, I've been using this thing quite a bit. All those tools were under 30 bucks. Anytime Tools. So anyway, we're going to get over here. We're going to spray some more awesome cleaner on in here. Just get the hose out, douse it down. Then we blow it off with air, and then we're going to hit it with starting fluid, and then blow it off with air when we're hitting it with the starting fluid. So in other words, when you're hitting it with the starting fluid and blowing off with air, it's going to be getting down in there, and then the air is going to be going, pulling out whatever the hell's left. And it's going to be real chemically clean. And we'll tape this off, some masking tape, and we're just going to pour that stuff in here, and it's going to be done around this window too. So should be pretty good. Okay, so we're blowing some air out in here. I already did the water, you know. Now this has got some old shit in here from before, probably before me. Then I put that shit in there. I put some, maybe I did, I don't know. Sure shit doesn't stick. So, when I was spraying in here, I knew a bunch of rust was coming out of here too, so. But when I get in there with the starting fluid, and I'm spraying it with the starting fluid, and I'm spraying it with this, it's going to dry it all out really good and get it really, really clean. And I figured that chassis saver is thin enough to get in there in the little spots I missed, so it'll seal it up. So, cheap fix, man. Well, I got it masked off. I'm just going to pour some chassis saver in here black, just like fill it in. And I noticed that not a one drop of water got on my dash when I was hosing that off, because the only time this leaked was this torrential downpour. So I did kind of fix it pretty good. It wasn't leaking like it was before, but I didn't get all of it. So I figure wherever I pour this in, it's going to solidify, harden up. It's an epoxy. And like I said, I cleaned it off with while I was spraying the starting fluid directly in here, I was hitting it with the air hose, the nozzle on the air hose right here real hard. And instead of buying these original equipment parts and changing out the gasket in here, this is just going to get filled up. Fuck it. So, and when you're doing that and you're spraying this out, make sure you're wearing safety glasses and all that, like I was wearing. So, I got a Dixie cup here, and we're going to punch a little can hole in here, pour it out in a Dixie cup, a little air hole, a little hole here, just enough so I can put screws in there and tape over them, reseal it. And we're just going to pour it in there. That's all that's going to happen. Now, like when I seal these up, I put a piece of tape and I put the screw through it and I put a piece of tape over it. It lasts for years, man. It stays sealed real good. So it's a very tiny hole, and then it's enough to pour out, but it's enough that it's such a small hole that you can easily just fill up. And then now I got this all in here. You can see that's just poured right in there. So there was some rust forming, so you know that's all going to be like solidified with epoxy. Then up in here, it's all going to be solidified with epoxy too, and that's going to be the end of that shit. Not going to be any problem. So I don't think there'll be a problem with that anymore. And also did, here's my air compressor. Also did a little bit on the wipers. Just kind of wiped them down real quick. I did clean them off with that awesome cleaner and the starting fluid, and I just kind of wiped them down real quick with the paper towel with some of that stuff, and then it'll get duller as that dries. So because they were rusty, now they're no longer rusty. So this little minor shit saves you a lot of money, and as long as it don't leak, who gives a crap, right? And it only leaked under extreme rain. Not a real lot. As a matter of fact, it only leaked under extreme rain when it was parked, when I was in a traffic light. A couple drops here and there, but I don't think it's going to leak at all anymore, because that stuff's going to pour right in there. It's thin enough to get in there, and when it hardens, it's going to be on there. And since it's kind of rough in there too, this stuff sticks better to a rough surface. And it's in a crevice. Then it's chemically clean, so I don't think it's going anywhere. So that's a lot cheaper than freaking buying a new freaking crap goes around in here. And then you'll look at it and you'll say it looked like a piece of black. You're not going to ever notice even that was fixed. Saved me a lot of time and money and bullshit. And all this little crap adds up, because eventually you get a big hole here if you don't do that. Eventually you get a big hole up here if you don't do this. So we'll take care of it. It's cheap too, right? It's kind of like the redneck way, but the right way. So there you go.